Hi, and welcome to the Kale Houser Leadership Secrets podcast. Today we're going to talk about past failures and future success. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Kale Houser Leadership Secrets podcast. My name is Kale Houser. Thank you for joining me today. Hey, I wanted to talk about this concept, and this actually came up in church with one of the songs we were singing, but this concept of past failure is not necessarily indicative of future failure. And on the flip side, past success is not indicative of future success. And there's a little twist on that, right? In the title of past failure does not mean future success either, right? It's kind of this whole this concept of just because something once was does not necessarily mean it will always be that way. And this is absolutely the case in business. I think there are so many different situations where we run into this, whether it be a long-term customer or a client that you've had for forever and ever, and then all of a sudden something on their end changed, and they're like, I'm sorry, we're going to have to sever our relationship, or we're going with this other company, this startup company that's giving us a better deal, all those different types of things. And then same thing on the flip side, past failures doesn't mean you're going to keep failing. It doesn't mean you're going to just keep making the same mistakes that led to previous failures. Theoretically, and if you're working on yourself and you're genuine in your desire to succeed, you correct those things. You correct those mistakes. You correct those processes. You correct those methodologies and actions and attitudes and people that you had around you that led to those past failures, to give you a better shot and a more chance of success in your future. And eventually, right, as with anything, eventually, if you correct enough things, if you do enough actions that are different from what you were doing that was causing failure or leading to failure, you'll hit that right combination of actions and tasks and mindset and that stroke of luck, right? That opportunity that you put yourself in front of and take advantage of, and be able to recognize it and take advantage of and lead to that success. So it is a little bit of a dichotomy of a saying, right? That you will not continue to have failures with past failures, and you will not continue to have success necessarily with past successes. Because this isn't just in general, again, this is with a little bit of a caveat and an assumption that you are somebody that is interested in improving, you're interested in success. You're not somebody that's just stuck and wallowing in your past failures, or just, that kind of saying resting on your laurels with past successes. But you're actively doing things to improve. And the assumption also that you actually want to improve, that you want to change things for the better in that sense. And that needs to happen and needs to be the attitude for both situations, both for past failures, like, man, I really sucked at doing this, or this blew up in my face, or I forgot about having to handle this certain item back here and I failed at it, or whatever that result was for you. Or on the flip side, man, I've been rocking and rolling over here. All my sales calls have been going awesome. I've been closing every deal. All my flyers that I send out just get this amazing response rate, and the email campaigns that I send out get these incredible open rates. And then all of a sudden you're like, well, yeah, you ignore market changes, you ignore economy changes, you ignore social changes, right? And the things that worked in the past don't necessarily continue to work. Like a big thing in the marketing world is Apple came up with their new privacy security update for all iPhones, right? So it kind of shut down the ability to direct market via social media and cookies and all those types of things to people with iPhones. A lot of people see this as a huge success. Other certainly marketers see it as a huge, obstacle and win. And if they were to continue doing things how they used to, what was causing them a lot of success in, the early 2020s or the early 2010s, won't be the same things that will cause them success in the future. I think we kind of understand that. Another really simple, not simple, but a really visual and something we can all kind of understand, whether we've had firsthand experience or secondhand experience with it or not, is that alcoholic or that drug addict. I almost said drug dealer. But that drug addict or alcoholic, they've had past failures, that the inability to stop drinking, the inability to not get another hit or get another high or whatever that drug is for them, pop another pill, because of what it's causing them to feel and all those types of things, for whatever reason that people become alcoholics or become drug addicts, right? And Grant Cardone, one of our mentors, has this really powerful story that he tells because he used to be a drug addict in his younger years. And I don't think he was like hardcore as far as, he wasn't the strung out heroin addict living in an alley, totally broke. I think he was more one of those kind of functioning drug addicts, if you will. Like he was still managing to, go to work and live in society type of thing. But he makes a comment of, it took him, I can't remember if it was 23 or 25 times of going through rehab, of trying to quit, of telling himself to quit before that was, the 25th time was his last time using drugs, or I guess the 24th time was his last time using drugs, for the rest of his life. Now he's in, I think, his mid-60s. And he makes this really powerful point in this story of, well, was it the 25th time that I tried to quit? Or was it the first time that I tried to quit that did it for me, that made the last thing, the last click piece of the puzzle that caused the change in order him to move forward and be sober and clean? And it's so fascinating because it's easy on the surface to say, well, obviously it's the 25th time, right? That's what did it. That was the thing. But was it, or was that the final culmination of all the previous 24 times that led to it? And I think... and I'm sure there are, psychology papers written on this, and sociologist papers, is that a thing, right? Where people talk to previous alcoholics or even current and previous drug addicts, and what led to their sobriety, what led to them being clean. Was it, certainly there are people that are out there that'll be like, I'm never going to do this again. Their why, their reason is powerful enough, and they make that change. And there's others that have to go through a process of finding that thing and putting all those pieces into place to make it worth it to not do that past behavior. But I think it's so fascinating because this absolutely applies to business. Okay, you may be doing things and getting results, and you're like, I don't know why I'm getting these results, right? It's the same thing as an alcoholic. Like, I don't know how I ended up down here at the bar just hammered, or I don't know how I ended up waking up hungover in the morning. I didn't intend to last night, and then things just happen, and blah, 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 all kinds of different scenarios that lead to that type of behavior. And you just find yourself in this cycle of failure. And this is easy to happen in business because business is a very much, if you don't succeed, you run out of money, you can't afford to do business, you still have to eat, still have to pay your rent, still have to mortgage, put clothes on your kids' back and all those types of things. And it's this very visceral, brutal kind of give and take sense in business when you continue to have these past failures. And a lot of people, and you may be a person that is in this situation or has gone through this situation, go through this cycle of abject failure, like total failure. I tried opening my Italian restaurant. We did all these things. I invested all this money. I took all these loans out. My family dumped in money for me to help me because this was my dream, and nobody came to my restaurant. Or I made these mistakes and the health department shut us down. Or all my food costs were just so high with the vendor that I chose that I was just not profitable and I couldn't do it. Or a business partner stole from me. All these types of things that lead you to these failures. And then it's easy to get into that sense of, well, I was a failure behind, in the past, and what I have always done, and that means I will be a failure. Like, I'm not going to try to open another restaurant because I was a failure at opening a restaurant. And I will be 100% honest with you here. I struggle with this a lot. I feel certainly I've had a lot of failures in my life, especially with business and some of the things I've attempted to do. Most of you know I was in the military. I did 16 years active duty, transferred to the Guard, and did a year there, although it was a COVID year, so I really only did 2 months or something like that of actual being on orders. So I got out of the military with basically nothing after 17 years of service, 16 and change of service. And I think a lot of people would see that as a failure, like, oh, you were so close to retirement and getting a pension, literally the rest of my life getting a paycheck from the government in the form of a pension after serving 20 years. And it's easy to get caught up in that, especially for me. I go through those periods when I'm, kind of down or something's happened, and you get in this, right, self-pity cycle a little bit. And I go, well, wait a minute. I didn't get kicked out, right? So that's not a failure. I separated the military on my own terms. And those terms were choosing my family instead of letting the military take my family, in the form of, I knew that if I was going to take this next assignment they were trying to force on me, that they were non-volunteering me for, like I absolutely did not say I wanted to go do that, that it would have probably cost me Liz and the boys, in the form of a divorce and separation and going through that whole process. And that was, to me, was unacceptable. That was the ultimate failure to me. And I didn't want to go down that road, so I chose, I guess, the lesser of the two failures, one that you could more easily live with, theoretically. But it became a choice, and I continued to struggle to look at it and remind myself of that. Like, no, you didn't fail. You didn't get kicked out. You didn't get charged or anything like that, in the sense of, mistakes that I had made personally, that I had to come back from. And there are certainly people that had gone that route and, they learned from those failures. But as I go through these processes and different things, I've tried doing different businesses that have been essentially failures, and a lot of it due to my own effort or lack of effort, but due to my own lack of knowledge, my lack of planning, things like that. That you don't know what you don't know until it finally becomes known, and you're like, oh crap, it's too late to do anything about it. So yeah, I struggle with that a lot, certainly weekly, if not semi-daily. Even things we're doing in our business right now that we're trying and not succeeding at, and getting our name out there, and things people we're working with and trying to generate business and all those types of things that we're struggling with, just like you with a small business, even with people that we've hired to do work for us and it not working out, and it's easy to be like, oh, I'm such a failure at this, but I want to leave you with this really one sentence, and write this down, replay this little bit. The only way to fail is to quit, right? I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again. If you listen to my podcast long enough, you're going to hear it again. The only way to fail is to quit. And that's what it is, whether it be the ultimate quit of, walking out on your family, walking out on your life, everything becomes too much of a struggle. Whether it be quitting a job, quitting a venture that you're doing, an investment or a self-improvement or school, a relationship, all those things. The only way to fail at it is to quit. So don't quit. If it is worth it to you, if the end goal and the potential is worth it for you, whether it's a sacrifice now to get that payoff later, don't quit. Keep going. Keep going. And that's our plan with Kale Houser Leadership, is really to not quit. We're going to be the Rocky Balboa who is just keep getting hammered in the face and the gut and everything else by all of the fighters throughout his history of fighting, and just don't quit. Get up, stand up, keep getting up. So I want to leave you with that encouragement today. If you're in that position of maybe a little bit of self-pity, right, a little bit of fear mixed in, a little bit of doubt, all those things, and that's not even talking about people that are the naysayers in your life that are trying to get you to quit. Take a stand, decide what's important to you, prioritize, and then take a stand and just don't quit. And that's really what it all comes down to. So easy to say, right? But in reality and in practice, it's very difficult. And I would highly encourage you to get people around you that can help you with that are putting that positive inflow into you and encouraging to you, even though they understand that it is quitting. And if you don't have somebody that is that for you, that's what Kale Houser Leadership is for. Not only do we help, spur you to your greatness and what you're trying to succeed at, we help you with those things that are the unknowns to you, the things that you don't know that will bite you, because those are things that we have exposure to and can help you walk through those dark forests at times. All right, make sure you check out kalehouserleadership.com for your amazing free gift. And we'd love to book a call with you at kalehouser.com and let us know how we can help you. All right, it was fantastic. I hope you've had a phenomenal week, 4th of July week. If you've been on vacation and if you're just catching up on these, I appreciate you coming back and giving us a listen. Comments, likes, and subscribes are always phenomenal. Help me grow the channel amazingly, so thank you very much for doing that on my behalf. All right, everybody, no matter where you're at in the world, have a fantastic afternoon. Bye.